Hello again, everyone. Um, just thought I'd jump on here. Earlier today, I was a guest speaker on a podcast regarding the FIFO lifestyle. For those of you who don't know or aren't aware of what that is, FIFO is basically the acronym used to describe fly-in, fly-out workers in remote mines of Australia. Essentially, they are flown out at the start of the roster and flown home at the end, living mostly in porta cabins or what we call dongas in Australia when on site. Now, as you can imagine, this is an extremely unhealthy way to live, as we are often isolated from family, friends, and loved ones. Many end up feeling lonely, stressed, anxious, and even depressed, which in turn often leads to the use of unhealthy habits such as substance abuse, etc., as coping mechanisms. And this has been going on for a while now. So over the past couple of decades, this trend has resulted in high levels of, lots of things: divorce, depression, addiction, and even suicide among the mining workforce. And I believe has dramatically altered the social fabric of communities Australia-wide. And so, yeah, I've done that chat on a podcast for the FIFO coach. He looks after or tries to help families understand and succeed in FIFO. But I got thinking after the podcast, it got me thinking about what is happening now across the world in the general public with the various lockdowns and restrictions. There are so many similarities that it becomes clear that we can expect similar outcomes in the community going forward unless we, both individually and collectively, do something about it. You see, we all have, at the end of the day, we all have the same basic emotional needs as humans. We all need to feel secure and safe. We need to feel somewhat in control of our lives. Of course, we all need intimacy, appreciation. It's always good to feel appreciated. And that can be, at work, by your family, by your community. We have a need for attention, but also to, as in receive attention, but also to give attention. A lot of us have a need for status, and we need to feel that our life has meaning and purpose. And amongst other things, we're still tribal, so we need to feel a part of a community. And when you think about it, all those things, it's hard to feel when we're being forcibly isolated and restricted, both in FIFO and now the general public are getting a sense of just how unhealthy that is. On the flip side, however, and in my work, this is what I do. We also have not just emotional needs, but we also have the innate resources ourselves to get these needs met. Now, you might think, well, how the hell can I do that with the current restrictions? Well, just like my advice earlier on the FIFO podcast to miners, the same principle applies. Essentially, we need to learn how to use our resources, or if they are damaged, we need to repair them. If those coping skills are missing or we've never learned them, well, we need to relearn them. And that's where I come in. And sometimes, depending on our individual situation, we may even need to remove ourselves from a toxic environment, whether that's at work, at home, a relationship, etc. Regardless of where we are right now, we can all start with the following, which is essentially, these are some of the innate resources we have. Our rational mind. So we can utilize our rational mind to realize that much of what we see in mainstream media, social media, etc., is nothing more than scaremongering. And then, thinking rationally, we get to decide for ourselves what to believe and which rules to abide by. And in doing so, we take back somewhat control of our lives. And that's for each of us to decide, like the cost mentally versus the risk of this so-called virus. Our imagination, we can utilize our imagination correctly. A lot of us use it wrongly. We use it to worry about worst case scenarios. But if you use it in a positive way, you can visualize and plan for a better future. We can also use it to come up with creative ways of spending our time productively. If any of you are in lockdowns, and come up with creative ways of spending time productively, which will help us get closer to achieving those goals and visions of our future. For some of us, even, it has been the opportunity to upskill or retrain and even start a new business. So a good positive utilization of that resource, imagination. We can also use our ability to build rapport, connect, and empathize with others so that we can understand other people's point of view and work together rather than argue and fight about the current situation we find ourselves in. Remember, we are stronger together. So rather than allowing this divide and conquer, build rapport and connection with others. And by connecting with others, we also potentially are opening up our opportunities that we would never have come across otherwise. So that's just 2 or 3 of our resources. But our innate resources, at the end of the day, used correctly, help us to get our emotional needs met. And by doing so, lockdowns or not, FIFO or not, we can potentially change our lives. And getting those emotional needs met alongside getting our physical needs of quality sleep, healthy nutrition, and adequate exercise, getting them met also, will put us in a much stronger position going forward. So, regardless of what you're going through right now, FIFO or lockdown, it makes sense to get those needs met and get ourselves in the strongest possible position for the post-COVID or post-FIFO. So rather than worry, procrastinate, or whinge, just have a crack at doing something about your situation. So I hope this has been a help to some of you, whatever you're currently going through. And don't forget, if you are interested in joining my program to get professional help, just book a free call and we'll take it from there. Apart from that, until the next time, take care. Cheers.